Hello again, YouTubers. I think I've got something to show you again this time. Tri-ang R54, and let me just show you some pictures that I've got here already. There's some there's a model from the internet in pretty good condition. It's even got the Hiawatha label on the front. I hope you can read it out there. And here we go, there's the Canadian Pacific real life version of it, 2335, the same number as well. So what I thought was a piece of fiction from Tri-ang, it was not, it was a real engine. And another picture of the Canadian Pacific livery, the same type, but and they've got a plate covering the pumps. So we'll talk about that in a minute. And I've got some other pictures here. You see at the front here, it looks like you've got some gaps here on the plate, and it's also like that on the model, so that's correct. That's Canadian Pacific livery again, slightly different plate work on the running plate, and another one there, plate covering the pumps again. So again from the internet I've got some other pictures here. Here's an older version, and the wheels there are filled in, the spokes are not actually straight through, but that's an older model, probably from the 50s. And these three, the bottom one is probably closest to mine, and the middle one slightly later, Canadian Pacific livery, and the top one I think was the last one they did. It's actually got the Scotsman tender in black. And that you might be talking about early 70s, before they stopped making them. So anyway, going back to mine, I want to zoom in a little bit. It's actually had this bogie on when I got it, and you can see the steps at the front. They're actually from the Princess, the Tri-ang Princess, which was already in production. So the chassis it's got there is a Princess chassis. You can recognise the pony truck. So the front I've got on there now, this has got the cow pusher on instead. This has come from a second Loco which was damaged, and I've taken parts from it. There should be a coupling on there, you can see the studs and the gap for the hook too, but it's already missing. But I don't want to put one back on, I think it looks better without. Okay. I'd like to talk about the engine anyway, because some of you out there might know what these parts are. I don't know what this thing is, that cylinder at the front. So one of you might know. Obviously the chimney, and you've got two lumps on here. Now British engines only tended to have one. I think that's for the steam, collection of the steam. And this, over in the USA and Canada, I think it was for sand. And they pumped the sand down for the wheels for extra grip. That's that one. And this one I think was the safety valves, and that is the bell which they have over there, and I think that's the whistle. And the final lump here, I think that's a generator to make electricity, just for the lights, the small light bulbs that they had on the train, and so on. And there's the cab. And funny little faults this one had when I got it. I think this rod here was upside down, those little pips are pointing down. There's a spacer in there. I've made one actually from some fuse wire. The spacer was missing. It should be a little collar in there to separate those, coupling and connecting. There should be a spacer there. And the step here was damaged. Let's zoom in a little bit. You can see. Can you see there? I had to make a clean cut there, and the old steps just snapped off. There's a jagged line right down there, so I made a clean cut across, and with the spare engine, the damaged one, I managed to cut the steps off that and glue them on. It just didn't look right without the steps, so I thought I had to do that. And one of these wheels on the tender, I can show you. these are the sleeved type wheels. One of these was out of round, it was making the whole thing wobble quite badly. So with another axle you can drift this one out very carefully. There's a peg on the axle and it grips onto one of these wheels, the other one is free. So if you can drift it out, then you can swap the wheels and put it back in again. Just be careful you don't damage things, you know, just tap it carefully in the garage on a ring spanner or something like that to tap it through. And that solved the problem with that one. So that's all I can really tell you about that at the minute. If you like, I'll take the Loco body off just to give you a quick look inside. This screw, I'll undo this screw and take the top off. Right, okay, I've got the top off. Now you can see what we've got here. There's the front bogie, chassis, and there's a little light bulb in a holder. It's a little bit wobbly, but it's there. And behind that is a brass or a bronze tube, and that's a heating element for you to put the smoke oil in, which I haven't got. Those are the wires to it. XO4, which should be familiar to a lot of you. And now can I show you? I've got some damage on this engine further, unfortunately. Right, that's better. These two lugs here, there should be two, there's only one. See that lug, it retains the body, it's underneath the cab. And this one, it's sheared off, it's snapped off. So probably when the Loco took a tumble and it lost its step on this side, it also lost this little lug. So some people will be able to fix that one, but that's out of my league, I'm afraid. Anyway, the Loco runs, and I've tested it in the garden, so hopefully you'll enjoy those little shots.